You're watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Here's your host, Don Ansell.
Michael Kraus, CEO of Wilmington Housing Authority, is our guest. We're talking about some of the work that the Housing Authority does in the region. And we're going to talk about Nesbitt Courts, but Gervais has been a real beacon of success, I think, for Housing Authority and sort of a new concept in redevelopment of housing projects. How's that doing, that community?
It's doing well. The occupancy remains very high. I think another shining example of that, which we've recently done, is our redevelopment on the former Robert R. Taylor Estate site. We won a statewide award for the best rental housing development last year for that project, so we're really pleased.
And that is a sort of a mixed use, single-family homes, apartments?
There's a senior complex
right.
there and a multifamily development, all of which are affordable, meaning the families are at or between 30 and 60% of the median area income. We have just broken ground on the construction of 48 additional public housing units that'll be adjacent to that site. And those will be townhomes, Platinum LEED certified.
When you say public housing, define that.
Public housing is the primary housing program that we manage, and those are the apartments that we own, maintain, operate, where we house families who are eligible to be housed.
But that's not Section 8.
It's not Section 8.
But it's subsidized housing, though.
It is subsidized.
And who subsidize? Where does that money come from to subsidize the housing?
Both Section 8 and public housing are subsidized by HUD.
All right, now let's talk about Nesbitt Court. That was what they call project, a public housing project, and you have moved all the tenants out of there and relocated them.
Yes.
Yeah. How many families did you have?
That was long before I got here. So I think there was approximately 156 families that were relocated.
So again, that was before you started. That was the families were moved out, and that decision to would you have made that decision to
I think there had not been a significant capital investment in that property for some time, and it did not provide quality living conditions for those families.
Yeah, that's the old, these are my words, project style of federal housing for those who qualify for assistance. And again, these are my words. That's kind of been deemed a failure, hasn't it? That style of project in terms of fostering diversity in housing patterns and higher concentrations of crime and other social issues.
I think there's no mistake that type of development is obsolete. It's too dense. It doesn't provide a prideful living environment where people will be encouraged to become self-sufficient. I think having different income levels in a community and
so what are you going to do with that? It's a 13-acre project with these abandoned buildings now, and just for our viewers, it's adjacent to the downtown district on 3rd Street, right near the Greenfield Lake area. What are your plans for that?
We have been pretty clear since my arrival in Wilmington that there's an obligation for us to do something with Nesbitt Courts. It is currently listed for sale, and the public bid period closes on July 12th. If we receive an appropriate and reasonable offer, we will take that to HUD for consideration so that we can execute a contract for its sale. If we don't, we have every intention of demolishing the property so that it no longer continues to blight that neighborhood.
Why do you have to take it to HUD?
HUD has an interest in the property through a declaration of trust.
I see. So if HUD approves it, you'll try to sell it?
Yes.
Yeah. What's it listed? Is it listed, did you say?
It is. There's a minimum bid of $1.5 million.
Now, wasn't there a corporation that had offered like about 3 point something on that.
Yes.
What happened to that?
The contract was never executed as the offer pulled back during the due diligence period.
The purchaser.
Yes.
Pulled out of the deal, basically.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So now it's listed. If HUD approves it, and if they don't, then you'll move forward on redeveloping it for public housing in a new concept?
I don't know that we have the ability to redevelop that property as it stands. We will demolish it so that those buildings don't continue to sit vacant. But as far as future use of the property, we don't have a clear plan on what to do with it beyond its demolition.
And Wilmington Housing Authority still operates some other project-style communities. Creekwood and Hillcrest are two that come to mind. What are the future of those communities?
For Creekwood, we're pretty excited about some of that which is going on right now. We're in the middle of a nearly $3 million renovation project for 60 units there. We've also submitted a tax credit application that would generate about $12 million to allow us to rehab the remaining 138 units. We're about to unveil a wireless internet access to those families who live at Creekwood. So we have a lot planned for that property in and of itself. Hillcrest, we're doing some renovations of that property, but we look to, hopefully within the next 5 to 10 years, do a significant rehab through a rather large grant from HUD, something that we'll be working on in the near future.
Solomon Towers, and we're almost out of time, but I just want to get this in before we're finished. Solomon Towers was up for sale at one point?
It was.
And that is, describe the type of housing that Solomon Towers provides.
It's a senior high-rise right on the Cape Fear River.
Subsidized? Mm-hmm. Okay. And it was up for sale, and then that fell through?
Again, it was listed for sale prior to my arrival to Wilmington. There was a contract for its sale in place for some time, and that contract was not executed or did not go forward.
Why was it? Well, I guess it's a prime piece of property on the Cape Fear River. Is that why they decided to, or Wilmington Housing Authority decided to sell at that before you got here?
I mean, I would think so. If the sale price was such that it was able to generate enough money to allow us to do more affordable housing development, I think it was probably wise for the Housing Authority to then consider selling it.
Will that be a consideration in the future?
Right now, we're making a reinvestment in the property to modernize those units to make them more comfortable for the seniors who live there. That's not to suggest that we wouldn't consider selling it at an appropriate time.
What kind of shape is WHA in?
Financially, we're doing really well. We have cut our costs significantly over the last 2 years, and we're bringing in more money than we ever have. In non-competitive funds, we received nearly $15 million in addition to our $20 million operating budget over the last year and a half. So we're doing well. We're
out of time.
Okay.
Thank you, Michael Krause.
Thank you.
Next week, we'll talk about trash disposal. R3 Environmental is looking to for a contract in New Hanover County. We'll talk about their issues next. Byline. Stay with us.
You've been watching Byline Wilmington on CBS 10 WILM. Join us every Sunday morning as we explore the issues that concern you.